deal with airplane peanuts.
Throughout the history of stand-up, comedians beefing with one another has been a constant, but never before has a behind-the-scenes rivalry between managers and agents involving years of lies, deceit, and manipulation spilled out into the public eye. Until now, that is. This video contains new information that just recently came to light. Information so bizarre and out of line that it's caused Bert Kreischer to lose sleep with rage ever since finding out. Matt Blake and Nick Nucifero are both agents who work for two separate companies representing comedians. Matt Blake works with Bobby Lee, Andrew Schultz, Tim Dillon, and Shane Gillis, while Nick Nucifero represents the likes of Bert Kreischer, Andrew Santino, Sebastian, and Whitney Cummings. The main purpose of their jobs is to organize upcoming schedules, book tour dates, and negotiate contracts for the comedians that they represent. It goes without saying they work for the comedians, and they should always have their best interests in mind, not the other way around. This is why it was so shocking last week when Bert found out live on Tiger Belly the real reason it's been so difficult to work with any of his comedic peers represented by Matt Blake stems from an ongoing beef that started 15 years ago between Bert's agent Nick and Matt Blake. Now, most people would assume something real serious must have happened for these two adults, each representing high-profile entertainers, to have carried on an argument for 15 years and let it affect their everyday business decisions, right? Wrong. Turns out it was all over a thermostat.
In fact, so there's a photo in my phone.
No, it's
Oh. Right? So they used to work together at an agency, and they hated each other because of the temperature of the room.
They fought over the temperature.
Right? So would like it hot.
How am I just hearing about this?
It's an origin story, man.
yeah. This is like
This is real.
thermostat beef.
Because I will tell you.
Thermostat brief.
Thermostat.
It's about the temperature of the office. What?
Are you fucking
No,
kidding
this
me?
is
No.
This is real. This is real.
So because of this thermostat beef, Bobby Lee was blocked from joining the Fully Loaded Cruise, the Fully Loaded Festival, and doing some normal weekends alongside Bert on the road, even though Bert made it clear that Bobby was his #1 choice.
Bobby was my first go-to. He was my first go-to for that.
What'd you do?
And he
Because this is-
immediately he said no.
No, this
Now
is
listen, I'll tell you how someone says no. Tim Dillon. Shout out to Tim Dillon.
Yeah.
He said yes. We signed it on, and then he goes, I can't do it. But he called me and said, hey man, I'm not gonna be able to do it. And you were like, okay, I got it.
That's nice.
It goes even deeper than just Bert and Bobby, though, because these same agents also made sure Andrew Schultz and Tim Dillon were not involved in any Bert Kreischer events whatsoever.
I'm talking about like
So wait,
Biden
just
and
kinda curious.
Trump kind of animosity.
Name 3 other really big comics at that company.
Shane Gillis, but he's in. I saw him.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Andrew Schultz.
Tim Dillon?
Tim Dillon.
Tim Dillon. Shout out to Tim Dillon.
Yeah.
He said yes. We signed it on, and then he goes, I can't do it. This is all over the fucking thermostat?
Even beside the fact that we're talking about two of the biggest names in comedy that would instantly add value to any festival lineup, Tim Dillon, Andrew Schultz, and Bobby Lee are all legitimate friends of Bert, who prior to him learning this information thought these guys were just ghosting and avoiding him for no reason. Bobby Lee's agent denying him of multiple huge opportunities to perform in arenas and baseball stadiums just to satisfy his own personal grudge against Bert's agent is absurd in its own right. But the fact that he's willing to speak on Bobby's behalf, literally putting words in his mouth regarding what shows he will or will not do with his own friends without even showing Bobby those offers first, that blows my mind. Especially when you see just how eager Bobby was to actually be a part of all these events.
They're like, you just got sober. Do you want to be on a yacht cruise?
Yeah.
For 30 days or whatever? And I go, maybe
30 days. It's not 30. We're not going to South America. It's just to the fucking islands out of Miami. It's 3 days,
3
Bobby.
days. 3 days.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's not 30 fucking days.
3 days.
Oh man.
Most drama between comedians doesn't really affect much outside of those specific relationships. But when it comes to this situation, comedy fans have a right to be pissed. The amount of comedy content we have now all missed out on because of these two dumb agents goes way deeper than just Fully Loaded. The Bad Friends tour was heavily delayed and almost canceled because Santino has the same agent as Bert. Bobby Lee was supposed to join Bert on his regular tour last year in arenas, but the deal was mysteriously denied. It's honestly shocking they could even get Shane Gillis to do Fully Loaded now that we know this. It'll be interesting to see the fallout from this information not only being exposed to the comedians, but also to the masses of comedy fans online. Bert's reaction to hearing all of this on Tiger Belly was pretty jarring. You could tell that he was actually devastated. Hopefully these agents agents can be held accountable in some way for putting their own interests ahead of their own clients. These guys come off as total morons, losing thousands of dollars in contracts and driving wedges in established relationships because of a thermostat. There is still a lot of positivity to take away from this information being leaked. Just like Bert and Bob discussed to end the episode, comedians have continued to become more and more independent and detached from the normal system. It seems like they've begun to realize they don't need these agents nearly as much as these agents need them, and they especially don't need any agents that are grown men fighting over the thermostat setting from 2008. Guest spots from last week: The Joe Rogan Experience had on Duncan Trussell and Gabriel Iglesias. Your Mom's House talked with Lauren Compton. Bobby Lee was the guest on B and Ian with Jordan. Kill Tony this week was with Theo Von. Two Bears, One Cave was Bert and Ari. Giannis Pappas and Paul Verzi were both on We Might Be Drunk. Stavi's World talked with Joe List. Chrissy Chaos had on Sam Talent. Andrew Santino was on Hey Babe. And Chris DiStefano was the guest on Flagrant.
And I just snapped when she asked me about a chore that I didn't do, about throwing out the garbage, and we just got into it, and the kids were right there, and then I just had to walk away, and I took a shower, and I told Akash I was screaming into the towels in the attic to just
he
try
went
to get
upstairs as far as he could go,
Yes.
into his attic, and screamed into towels as loud as he could.
My children were in the basement. They were doing like an activity down there. That's where their playroom is. And I went up to the top layer and I screamed as loud as I can into the attics and just yelled obscenities at myself. Took a shower, came back downstairs, and I said, you know what? I messed something up. I did not control my reactions in the right way. But all I can do now is show the children that if you make a mistake, all you can do is try to be better for it. This is going to tie into Juneteenth. He's doing it all, baby. Yeah. He's doing it all.
Yeah.
This past weekend with Theo Von talked with Duncan Trussell. Matt and Shane Seeger podcast had on Lil Sass. Rich Voss was on Dr. Drew After Dark. Are You Garbage had on Ali Sadiq. Taste Buds battled Stub Toe versus Paper Cut. Rachel Wolfson was on The Honeydew. Gata from Dave was the guest on Whiskey Ginger. Josh Home was on the Blocks podcast. And Bert Kreischer was on Tiger Belly. As far as new stand-up specials that are either out right now or coming out soon, the most excited I've been for a Netflix special in a long time, Tom Segura's Sledgehammer, is coming out next week on the 4th of July. This will be Tom's 5th special that he's made for Netflix, cementing him as an original stand-up comedy staple on one of the biggest streamers in the world. We also have some new specials out on YouTube for you. Mark Norman presents Matt Ruby's Substance, a full hour for Matt Ruby, out right now on Mark Norman's YouTube channel. We also had a surprise banger for Matt Rife, dropping a full-length crowdwork special just a few months after uploading his previous full hour. And Jake Snell's Special Boy came out on YouTube last week. We also have the Fully Loaded Tour continuing to roll on. Honestly, the most electric event anywhere in stand-up comedy right now. The content coming out of this festival so far has been nuts. It's mind-blowing to think that somehow Fully Loaded could have been even better than it actually is right now if these agents didn't act like children. It really seems like everyone in comedy is on the road right now. This summer has been packed with extensive tours for majority of the top comics in the game. I just saw Theo Von's latest hour in person last weekend, and it was incredible. The show exceeded my expectations by so much that I decided it needs a full recap video, so that'll be coming out soon on this channel. If you don't want to miss it, be sure to subscribe right now. Thank you so much for watching.
At Joke World. That's it, at Joke World.
And the world is WRLD.